Alright. Sorry I overslept. Good evening, everybody. Good morning, wherever you may be. Of course, today it is, at least on my side of the time of the international date line, it is Tuesday, and I'm just taking. I'm actually live now. I am live now. Just talking to Carrie, just letting her know. Text message that I'm live now. We did a really nice little special vlog today, which some people actually really did enjoy because they found it to be an educational piece and inspiring, and that was the intention. Not a lot of people. Oh my God, I got 5 people on it, and I just started it up. We did a really nice little special vlog today, which some people actually really did enjoy says hello because they found it to be good to see you. Hope you. That was great. Yeah, actually it was, because I didn't even mean to oversleep that late. I just fix this camera, it's a little bit low down to the table here. It was just something I just did because it was just the right temperature in my apartment. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. And so I just wanted to take a nap, and then after tonight, after the show, I'm going to try to make some frozen pizza. I just figured that I just got done in the garden. Okay, Reckington, how you doing? Did you get the text messages I sent you, Reckington? I sent you a couple text messages about the kind of gear I was looking for, so you can keep an eye out for. Can't believe we got 6 people on already. Wow. Doing pretty good today. Doing good in my neighborhood. Okay. Okay. I figured that would help you to see what kind of things I'm looking for. Yeah, we just got like Mary Beth understood. We just got up because, like I said, it was just comfortable in the apartment. The windows were closed, the door was closed, but I figured, who the hell is calling me now? Hold on a minute. Hello? Oh. Well, I just got a phone number. I don't know what that was about. But, my counter says 7. Nice start. Yeah, it does say that. We actually, yeah, I mean, I slept, like I said. So, I don't know, I have not heard any more from the guy from next door either. That was featured last night. Some people pointed out that they thought his tattoos looked pretty. Hold on a minute, let me see who's calling me here. Hello? Oh, hold on a minute. Hello? Alright. Well, really, like I said, I'm not taking phone calls, so we're gonna have to remove the app again. Ugh. Guys, I already told you we're not taking phone calls. I really wish you guys understand that. Okay, I really... Yeah, it's very disrespectful when you guys do this to people, when you tell them, when someone tells you that they're taking phone calls. Or if the channel doesn't put the phone number up on the screen, that means that they're not taking phone calls if the number's not listed. And I don't really mean to be disrespectful when I say that, but I'm not taking phone calls tonight. Message notifications, notification speed, vibrate, call forwarding to devices. So same area code, Michelle. Just block it. (8:23 p.m.) Is it really 8:23? Huh. I don't know. Anyway, so... And then we'll just have to unblock those numbers later on. Pennsylvania. That could have been R11. It could have been, but that's not his number though. Oh, okay. 785. $350. I don't know who that is. So anyway, like I said, so if you will call into a show and the person is not like taking phone calls and they don't have a phone number on the screen, or they do not say they're taking phone calls and you constantly keep calling them, that's just plain rude. You know, it's like, I'm not trying to be mean when I said we're outside. We don't have any way of easily mixing phone calls in to the studio line, but that doesn't mean that we would normally not be taking phone calls. It just means that right now we're not taking phone calls. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to be part of our audience. Of course I do. But it just means that I can't take phone calls right now. Okay? So, I mean, I'm sorry if that's disappointing and you want to get phone calls and everything. LOL, that takes the ugly ones. What does? Let's see. Jewel Steve. So I'm glad, Mary Beth. I do too. I don't know what this. Carrie says. LOL, Adam. Carrie says, what Jules? Adam Tunnel says, pretty ones. Mary Beth Unger says, I think big key for this one. More juggalos should have. It could help common everyday life. Isn't that a thief takes the ugly ones? I don't know what this is about. I really can't keep kind of late. I'm a chatter, but I like, even if they don't like my opinion, that's still my opinion. Oh, okay. Like I said, I wasn't expecting to take phone calls, so that's just it. And then, of course, last night, even though I didn't even say I was taking phone calls, they kept calling over and over and over again. Oh, Pop, I can't deal with you right now either. But at least I know who this one is. Pop! Hello? I'm live right now. So you're gonna, if you want to join the show, just join the chat. You're unblocked. Yeah, I'm not dead. Yeah, I can call you after the show. It'll probably be about an hour or so tonight. Alright, yep. Yeah. What was I? Also, Stacy sent me a message on Hangouts too. Oh God. Alright, so let's get back to where I was. Hopefully, see if my show doesn't end up getting too arrears. So, well, he did apologize for what he said yesterday, so he's not blocked anymore, so I'm just, I didn't even have time to brush my hair before I came out here. But, alright, so let's get back to the main itty bitty, nitty gritty. Alright. Is a lot of people did like when I record a message from this afternoon. They thought it was very inspiring. One person actually shared it with his friends, and which I appreciated a lot because I thought that was nice. And so I did that message from my heart. I mean, that wasn't like a pre-scripted message at all. None of my shows are pre-scripted. Sometimes I may come up with a couple of lines that I might use or something, but most of the show is genuine and to the heart and from the heart. And that's just the way I like to do it. So people get a chance to hear. And I got a buzzing here. Hello, answer me. I make this clear to anybody who's buzzing me right now, okay? I will make it clear. If you call my studio line when I'm on the show, if I'm not taking phone calls, I'm not going to be answering the phone. Okay? If you call my studio lines, when I said I put the number up on the screen, then I am answering calls. Okay? Well, who's ever buzzing me on Hangouts? Well, yeah. What you just press? I don't know, I just press something. Oh, okay. He's going to check out your People on Me page. Alright. Alright. I'm thinking of a blueprint for my house for home in 25 years. Any of you guys get any good idea for architectural drawings for a Bulgarian style country home between traditional and contemporary design. That's what Pop's looking for as a starting point. Because so easily, it's one of my favorite things about you. You're very kind. Thank you. I do try. Alright, let me look and see who is this phone number sending me this stuff. What the hell is that? The same picture of a... Yeah. It's kind of perverted and disgusting. It's a dick pic. And this came from Scott and Stacy. Did you see that? And then she sent me something. It looks like it came from Boston Girl Bridget. It's something that Stacy sent me. Alright, let's just take a quick look and see what she sent me. No, I'm back and better. So, Boston Girl Bridget. So why would Stacy send me a Boston Girl Bridget video? That's odd. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know why it was something. Alright, so I got a prude, or new, actually, not a prude, I would say something completely different. I got somebody sending me dick pics and everything else in Hangouts right now. I don't know why. I'm not interested in dick pics. I don't. And this guy just keeps going on and on and on and on and on and on. Oh. I'm not interested in male genitalia. I'm not. I don't understand why people are sending that stuff. I don't want my home near a street. I prefer to be in the middle of the yard. In other words, he doesn't want to right on frontage. So what it means that, back to Pop, he wants the house set back a ways from the yard. Pop, how far back do you want to have your house set back from the yard? Is there any way to shut up Hangouts? Ugh. Yeah, it used to be. Oh, this is even more disgusting. Oh my god. Was that to me or you? That was on yours. Oh my god. Tell me. It doesn't shut it up. I see that. And you can't get rid of the guy? I don't even know who they are. Oh. Alright. Just hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of this person. Let's see, can I sign out of this thing? See, this is the reason I get so frustrated. Because I can't figure out how to sign out of this app. There has to be a way to do it. Manage accounts and syncs. No. That's not what I want to do. Settings. Browse and Hangouts. Notifications, Michelle. Turn off notifications. That's the way. Alright. Thank you. Oh, okay. That'll help. But why can't I log out of the app? Just like everything else in the goddamn technology. This is ridiculous. You mean you can't even sign out of the app? Oh, this is stupid. This used to be so easy to do. And then they took out the option to shut down something. Now, for the person that's sending me all those horrible pictures of body parts doing things that is inappropriate, I'm going to warn you right now that technically what you're doing is illegal because I told you to knock it off. They don't care. I know they don't care. I figured that. Let's see. Alright, well anyway, at least for right now I silenced it. Let's get back to the comments. I want a third floor to have no roof. In other words, he wants like a veranda or something on the third floor. So the third floor would be an open balcony, like a sunroof. Oh, I suppose I can figure a way to disable notifications if I go to settings of the phone itself and just shut them all off. But it's just really frustrating when I tell people that, or when I don't even have people turning on calls, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, you're just, you know, you're trying to do a show and it's buzz, 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 and they keep coming up over and over and over and over again. And it's just rude because, you know, you're not trying to be mean, but, like, you know, I gotta be able to focus on one thing at a time. So now I gotta go and see if I can go here into the Android settings and shut them off. Yeah, block notifications. There we go. That should do it. I got some guy sending me dick pics, which I don't even know why he's sending me dick pics, because I'm not interested in dick pics. And then that totally throws my train of thought. And that's, to me, that's just, that's disrespectful, because yeah, it's just disrespectful to me. I don't understand the logic behind sending a person dick pics. What he doesn't realize is that if he keeps doing that, I could actually contact my local police department, and I could actually report him for that. I don't want to do that. I just don't want dick pics. Ugh, come on, phone. Let me get caught up on the chat, because I fell behind. I haven't messed around with the settings in the phone. There we go. Okay. So let's go get to the actual chat here. Beautiful in Greece. Nice location. Choice. Yeah, it's near my home. Well, hi, Merton says Nacho. Business. People P says it's near my homeland. Similar culture. Yep. Oh, well, back to 9 people. Last night was a good show, by the way. We had a really good show last night. I had to go. I did not hear from the neighbor today, but I wonder if how are you working it out with the rent and Jimmy and stuff like that. I don't know. But, I wonder if you can actually block notifications from the phone calls too. I probably could, though. I probably could. But honestly, if you block notifications from the phone calls, you think you should try turning this off on this phone too? You can't. I'm live. Oh. Yeah, I probably could though, but I don't really know if it would be a good idea right now to do that. Alright, so yes, that last night was good. We had a lot of people on here who were really growing really quick too. So that was the kind of stream I was looking for last night. It was a good example of what I was looking for in a stream. Wish I had my hairbrush out here. I didn't even think about grabbing my hairbrush. I was just in a hurry, and I was like, So anyway, I got up and I just, it was 8:05, and I was like, oh Christ, I gotta go down the air because I promised to be on tonight. And speaking of stimulus donations, there's still some questions of when Mitch McConnell is going to be either encouraged to drag it to the floor sooner than July. The Republicans do want now to add a couple things to their variation of a stimulus package, which was related to what the Democrats wanted to originally add to their stimulus package, but never did. One of them was infrastructure improvements. Over $1 trillion in infrastructure improvements to create jobs for people in the utilities, road, and building infrastructure. That was both a Republican and a Democrat idea. Before the COVID-19, the Democrats wanted to originally propose that. And then they sidelined that with all the stimulus packages. But Donald Trump did want to investigate that option. And so the Republicans are coming up with their own idea of adding a $1 trillion stimulus or infrastructure improvements to their stimulus bill, along with a few other money for cities and towns. So for the $2 trillion would have covered the $500 billion for the cities and towns and states, $1 trillion for infrastructure renovation, and then another $500 billion for stimulus checks to everybody else. Well, how many people don't realize is we spent $300 billion on stimulus packages for everybody last time. So the question is should we have more for stimulus? I still think we should be going for a few months of stimulus, so that, just like they did for the unemployment boost, so that people can actually have a couple of months of benefits or money, while giving government time to basically plan for the next stimulus, so that people are not going to be waiting as they are this summer for the stimulus to the people. But yet no one ever asks me if that would be a better choice. But if you did, that's what I would do, because that way you guys can hammer and yammer out a bill after summer holiday, and then you guys come back and there'll still be money coming into the people, as even the Romans knew, bread and circuses, right? Keep the masses happy and fed, and everybody's doing great things, and less complaining, less gnashing of teeth, and being it's an election year, more than likely the people are going to vote for your party. Right now, as it is, unfortunately, Mitch McConnell is actually making his whole party look bad, even though he's the only one that's holding up the whole work. I just don't understand why he's doing that, but that's what he's doing. He's actually holding up everything. Everything. But I don't understand why he's doing that. Why he's just not working with people and get the money. Okay, I will see it, and then of course, see the cool, weird house in Hawaii without walls. So the donor should take that up with her, unless it was you who donated. Right. Blind Pete did not donate. I think she will soon. Michelle agreed not only to turn the phones on, but to keep them on and active for all the future live streams. Donor paid. Michelle decided to spend the money on junk. I didn't spend the money at all. It's still sitting in the account. I explained, and the donor agreed, that since you guys have not donated via Patreon, the pledge is needed for the monthly service to keep it on every single month, that I need to hold up until I get a steady either pledge donation or enough of the economic stimulus check to cover the time when the rent is $900 a month, which ends being $900 a month after December or September. After in October it goes back to $700. Since no one here has contributed towards the monthly pledges for that purpose, we have to wait until October. And I've already pointed out that we have the money now for the security deposit and the activation. So now all we have to do is in October 3rd, when I get paid from Social Security Disability, I have the money now to pay Frontier to get the home phone on, studio line back on, and home internet on after the guy shows up for the installation. Okay? And I will have, the money for him that he needs to get started with the security deposit and everything else. And then at the same month, once I get my first bill, I'll have 1 month of bill ahead, so I can, because the first month's of service is actually going to show up in November's bill. So which means that I can pay October's bill or November's bill in October because I'll have the rent reduction. So it's the reason we're doing it that way. That's just the way it works out for me. Theoretically, I could probably activate the service in September. Even if I had the money, he's going about it the wrong way. Says Nacho, what's he talking about? It's more like a cozy test answer myself. I don't know if it would stop the deck picks, but I mean the point is right now I basically had to shut down Hangouts completely. For right now. And if I have to, I'll shut down the phone number completely. So you can't even call me even on my cell phone. But that's because I have the cell phone though for emergency purposes right now, because it's the only phone I have in the home that works. So that's a serious issue. And like me and Carrie were talking about, she was having a problem with her phone service too last night. And I said to her, and she has a son with special needs. And I said, you really got to have the home phone because you're putting all your eggs in one basket on the cell phone. And the cell phones have problems with the towers. You're screwed. And your son, which has type 1 diabetes, would be screwed. So, you really need to have a second phone line. A hardwired phone line does not depend on batteries, will normally survive most storms. And in the case of most emergencies, a working home phone is better than no phone at all. Sure, you can't text to it, but you could certainly reach out to people, such as doctors and medical professionals and fire brigade, whatever you need to do. That's the reason why. Also, you can have a home phone in every room in your home. And I do. I have a phone in every room in my home. Except the bathroom. The only room in the house that doesn't have a phone is the bathroom. But I suppose I could put one in the bathroom, but honestly, that's probably the one time in my house when I do not want to take phone calls. When I'm taking a bath or if I'm doing something else, I don't want to have a phone call come in when I'm in the bathroom. Okay? Will be a Villa Donna from Mamma Mia. Yep. Cell phone can turn off important people in your life. Will use to home phone still rock? Yes, they do. T-Mobile has been trying to connect my Wi-Fi calling again today, which is what happened when their service went out yesterday. Yeah, Mamma Mia is the name of a movie too, yeah. The story of ABBA. The members of ABBA of the Bjorns are actually divorced from each other. I don't know if the Anderson husband and wife are still together. Frida Bjorn lives in Switzerland right now. Her husband still lives in Sweden. Right. Exactly. Carrie says, Michelle, I agree. Our pharmacy delivered my son's insulin today, and I was lucky the phone was working. Mary Beth says, Carrie, I have T-Mobile, and they're messing with me too. I want my pics, contacts, storage, all that junk. Well, the problem is, it's just like Montgomery Scott said in The Wrath of Khan, right? It don't take much but Captain to totally hose up the plumbing. Trust me, you think about it, all the modern technology is all cloud-based. It is so easy to totally fuck everything up. It's not like the old days when things are actually stored at your home. For example, even for a home landline, heaven forbid, if you actually have voicemail, it's not like the old days when you had an old mechanical answering machine right next to your phone. If your phone goes down, the answering machine would still work, so you could always go back and rewind through your messages you had when your phone was working. And besides, I like having a home phone because it's like not only for safety and security reasons, but because, you know, it's there's a cool factor, you know. You know, like I said, you can have a phone number in every room. I mean, well, a phone extension, or in my case, literally intercom extensions. Because, for example, the bedroom is extension 10, the kitchen's extension, it's not 11 anymore, it's 19. And then you have the living room, that's 20, and you have the multimedia room, that's like 21. And then the phone out, and then the studio line is extension 25, I think. Yeah, and then the other computer with the TDD is extension 24. So the thing is that I can actually call any room in the house, which is nice. So like if I was just getting up, and if the Uri was cooking something in the kitchen, she didn't have to come over and start screaming for me. She just picked up the phone, pressed the intercom button, and dialed 10, and it would ring through to me in the other room, in the bedroom, and I could answer it. Which makes it a lot quieter for the neighbors because no one goes, Michelle, you up? I want to know, where did you put the stupid pepper? Exactly. You make me laugh when you say a swear word. You don't like talk like that. A lot makes me laugh. Yeah, I hardly cuss. Yeah. You have vintage tastes. Yeah, I do. Well, after all, I got a 25-inch console television sitting in my living room. CRT based, one big vacuum tube on it. Of course, I don't have a satellite dish hooked to it right now, so there's nothing to watch on it. So it's been sitting there like an old lonely hermit, you know. I'm just a CRT. I have nothing to see. I am reading this a rotten old TV. I gotta get some. I would like to get my this back eventually. Call them or text them at the house. Well, not only because we're using the PBX, we also have trunk-to-trunk transfers, which are even cooler. So let's say, for example, because I have two phone lines. Let's say, for example, a friend calls me, and he's looking for a friend. So a friend calls me on a private line. Hi, Michelle. Can you connect me to Ed? You know, Ed's in Florida, right? So I say, sure. I put him on hold, and then I push transfer, and then I type an outside line. I think it's 9. Then I dial his phone number, area code, everything. It answers. I say who it is, and then I hang up, and then they're connected. The two calls are connected to each other. So, which is kind of cool. Great if I had more phone numbers, and my switch is set up to handle up to 8 phones right now. 4 can do trunk-to-trunk transfers. The 4 lines can't. The other 4 lines are the old board from the old phone system that can't do trunk-to-trunk. But because it doesn't have a disconnect detection circuit. But, oh well, that's fine anyway. They meet some of the needs of the whole system. That's a great TV. It's a RCA home theater console. I also have a Sylvania System 3 TV, which needs a picture tube rejuvenation. Because the cathode on it is a bit tired. Thinking about buying a Senscore Super Mac like Shango 066 has and zap it to an inch of its life. See if I can get the picture good enough that maybe I can give it away to somebody who needs a 25-inch console. Because right now it works as it is, but it really needs a recap. It probably needs a bias adjustment. But I haven't really had a chance to crack it open into a CRT because I don't have a CRT tester yet. Well, yeah, 8 incoming lines. One time we used to have 3 phone lines on the switchboard, and then 2 cell phones, plus Hangouts. So one time I had 6 phone lines coming in. That was back when I had Section 8. I could afford to do that. And I had friends that were living here on the agreement, but that was then. This is now. Isn't there a book called that? That was done, this is now. I don't know if there was a book. I think there was a movie. Oh, okay. Yeah. Right now I only have this phone. That's it. And Hangouts on it. We have 8 pair. We have 8. Was it 8 pair? I think it's 8 pair because you replaced the wire originally after the original purchase. Yeah, damaged. It got ripped in half. What is it? It's still down there on the wall somewhere. I can't figure out where I put the stupid phone in. Oh, there it is. Yeah, this I believe is 8-core wire, so we can have up to 8 phone numbers. We have only 4-core, and we do have 4 J11 jacks in there from the central office. So we have 4 cores coming. We have 8 cores feeding. That's 2 pairs per per line. I like the vintage and antique things. My one TV is the first one Zenith made with a built-in antenna from the late 1940s, early 50s. Better picture than the HD crap sometimes. Yeah. Zenith still makes good stuff. The name goes on, or the quality goes in before the name goes on, yeah. When Zenith was actually making the TVs in America. Shango 066 usually has very little hard time getting those older Zenith TVs fixed and working. Unlike the Philco Predicta he had to work on. That was a nasty thing. Nasty piece of work. That old Philco Predicta TV that looked like something from alien space, with all the tuning knobs on the bottom, and then the picture tube was in his own little cabinet. That took him a while to fix it. The thumbnail in the commercial says, thumbnail for the video says, "Don't waste your life." Because the wiring inside was so messed up on the Predicta. With so many bad paper capacitors and wax caps. He had to recap the whole sucker just for one customer. How you doing?
Very good.
That's good. But once he got it working, it took like 4 videos over time for him to get the thing back to factory. And it worked really well when he finally got it working. But with the case of the Philco, they were investing in fascinating designs, but they were just using crappy parts in them, which kind of sucks because you're thinking, but then TVs back then companies were all coming up with their own ideas for the best way to make a TV cheaper because people wanted TVs. So people were spending, because back when the Philco Predicta came in, back in the early 60s, TVs were an expensive deal. So, yeah, people, I don't know what the retail price of a TV like that today would be, but I got a feeling it was, at least for a black and white one, probably was at least a week's worth of wages back when it came out. At least. 1960s, wages were still, it's hard to compare. If I took my income I have now, and I was to go back in a time machine back to the 1960s, I would be living like a queen. Because $1,316 a month, at that point, was well-to-do income level. Because we were still on the silver standard and the gold standard back then. So we would have had awesome life. Low cost. My apartment, by the way, is $700 a month regular. Back in the 1930s, my apartment was like $25 a week. I'm sorry, $25 a month. $25 a month rent. You can imagine what you could get for $700 back then, and it's enough to really seriously make you wonder if you're living in the Ritz-Carlton or the Plaza Hotel in New York City, because that's what you would get for living accommodations back then for $700 a month. You could have a nice hotel room with room service in your own personal valet. If you had $700 back then, it's ridiculous. But that's really how much our money has depreciated over value over the decades, especially since we got off the silver standard, the gold standard. Of course, we all know our money's now based now on petrodollars, which is totally stupid because, sorry to say, but oil is a terrible, terrible means of exchange. I mean, now the price of oil has shot through the floor and it's actually gone negative or close to it now. It's costing more money to store it than it is to for people who are not buying it right now. There's a glut. There's too much oil sitting in tankers in the Pacific Ocean that they can't even, no one even wants to buy. And you think OPEC has totally stopped pumping oil. You are totally wrong. They're still pumping it too. But just nobody wants it. And that's something to think about. What costs 1,000 times is right. So $3 an hour back then. A lot of people's homes didn't have TVs. I remember in the early 60s, a lot of our friends coming over every Saturday to watch the TV. Exactly. And a lot of people's homes now don't have TV either because everybody's gone towards video, like my channel. People, what they're called cord cutters. A lot of cord cutters either gone back to rooftop area or they've gone completely and put the TV basically in the dustbin of history. Trust me, what's on TV now is really, really not that good. It's just not worth a cable subscription. People think you need to have cable TV to get any TV reception completely at all. That's not entirely true, but what is true is that it's sure convenient for more channels, you know? It's just, I don't know, it's kind of stupid, but $1.62 an hour was typical wage. $3 had one heck of a great job, at Board of Trade. Absolutely. $60 an hour today. If you think about that, think of that. $3 an hour then would be like at least $30 an hour now. So you figure what kind of job that was. And yeah, and because manufacturing jobs existed and people were manufacturing back then in the United States. Sure, our air wasn't necessarily cleaner. The EPA didn't come in until 1972, but there was jobs for everybody. There was manufacturing work, there was secretarial work, there was jobs for elevator operators, there were switchboard operators, there were jobs now that don't even exist anymore because of automation. Jobs that would have been done by a human being, for example, running the switchboards in the company. Today, it's all electronic. Maybe you got a receptionist and she may take some calls, but back then there was a dedicated person in the back room that would be connecting calls for employees, both in and out. The companies that still were using cord boards, those that were using actual more modern Western Electric selector calls, they were still doing the same basic job as the switchboard operator, routing calls. There's a good video on that. I think it's in my technical playlists, talking about the switchboard operators, ambassadors of industry. You can watch that. That'd really trip you up when you see that, because it's really cool. Starring Lori Meadows. Fascinating. It's based on a fictitious story, but it's cute. I always had a love for the switchboard operator. I always thought that their, job was, they were so important, the unsung heroes of the industry. They were keeping communications going for businesses. Or what about I know there's a joke about this. Elevator operators, their life has ups and downs, right? You answer the call for each floor, and you bring the elevator up to the floor to bring them to where they had to go. But it was a job that was easily doable by even a person that was legally blind. Think about it. All you had to do is be able to see the call light for the floor you're going to, and know how to bring the elevator to the floor, level it, and then have passengers come in, and then bring them to the floor they're going to, level it again, let the passengers out. It's not a major job. Of course, modern electronics and even automated elevators in the 70s, pretty much took away their jobs too. I think there's only one elevator operator left in whole Rhode Island that still runs a manual elevator for a business. The thing is, there was jobs for everybody in all levels of the industry. Today, those jobs have been replaced by computers. And then, of course, even jobs that are still technically exist, like auto mechanics. Auto mechanics, they still exist, right? But thanks to computerized controls, in some ways their life's a lot easier too, because they can hook up the computer diagnostics to your car and get a report from the car's computer telling you, oh, the air oxygen input sensor shows that there's a malfunction in the air fuel mix. Then they know that they can adjust the air, fuel injectors. But in the old days, it would be a mechanic basically adjusting the carburetor again for clean burning fuel use. They didn't have the modern technology we have today, but that was what they were doing. Typical wages in a home in Vegas is between $8 and $11. Is that a week or an hour? I mean, you think about it. How much has changed since the 1960s in this country? Nothing's the same as it was in the 1960s. Or maybe there's a few vestiges of it. Like I said, there are people that still do have home phones. Oh yeah, don't forget, prior to the 1969's World's Fair, we were using rotary dial phones only for direct dialing. AT&T made a big deal about that. Oh, you can direct dial your friend's extension, your phone number, you're using your rotary dial mechanism. Before that, you'd pick up the phone and you would get the operator and she'd ask you for the number, you give the number, and then basically she connects your plug, into their hole. And then when the call was done, she looked to see if both parties' lights would go out, and then she would remove the plug. It's really kind of fascinating, because nowadays we have computers that do all that. And there are people that are still asking, gee, have we kind of gone too far and removed the human element? Thanks, Dow. The human element. When you add the human element to the equation, it changes everything. Oh, I love the human element commercial. You guys can still see it on YouTube today. And I love the song on it, and so I found out who did the song. And I actually got her album here. I forgot what it is. Susan, I forgot what her last name was. Anyway, it comes from the New Harmony Waltz, by the way. That's the song, the New Harmony Waltz. And the human element commercial the point of that is that, yes, when you remove the human element, if you don't have the human element, the equation changes. Because like I said, with the switchboard operator, that person actually gave you a sense that there's a human being that was there for you and cared enough to make your calls complete. Today's automation doesn't do that. I mean, sure. Yes, I could say to Siri, here, please call this number from me. Or I could do the same thing with Alexa or the other automatic or electronic assistants. But back then, it was a human being that was doing that. Granted, toll calls were expensive as hell. International calls were outrageous. International calls today are still outrageous sometimes, but they're a lot cheaper. I remember from 1975 looking at the phone book my mom and dad had sitting in the drawer. How much did it used to call to make it even an in-state toll call? 85 cents for the first minute. And something like 50 cents for each additional minute. No wonder why most people didn't make too many long-distance phone calls. Because they were so expensive. And people did not make a lot of long-distance phone calls. With the creation of 1-800 numbers for business, that opened up the huge door opportunities. But remember, who paid for those 1-800 numbers was the business. So, but the service was there. I think it came out about 1966. The idea of 1-800 numbers. Something we take for granted today. And then in about the 1980s, they came out with 1-900 numbers, which is kind of similar, except they bill you. They were kind of more of a promotional thing. 1-900 numbers. It's really kind of interesting to think about the history of that. Typical stimulation in North Dakota, and then Bowman Town was 18 an hour. Yeah. Like a personal assistant. Blind Pete. I talked to the donor. He doesn't need the money refunded. Okay, it's between me and the donor. And he knows that the money will be used for the phone line when I get enough monthly pledges to come in to actually get the service turned on. And make sure I have the bill up front for the monthly service. He even told me, he said I could have used the money for something else if I chose to use it for that instead. And I told the donor, no, I'm still using it for the phone. And I said, I figured this would be a good way to get Patreons to actually join on Patreon and make monthly pledges. Doesn't make me a bad person when I say that. I remember the first phone number was 6028. That was and the party lines were fun as I'll get out listening to absolutely. And the reason why that was just but if you wanted to call to another exchange, then you had the exchange number. For example, Winston was FR9. So Winston, if I wanted to call, let's say I was in Simsbury, which would be JA1. Let's say I wanted to call Winston. I'd pick up the phone. I get Central on the line. I say, connect me to Frontier 9 55512. And then they would go ahead and they would ring up the Winston switchboard. And then they would hand the call over to her. And then because she was connected in the trunk, and so she would take that plug for that number, 5512, and plug it into that trunk line hole. And then she would flip the switch to ring that extension. That's the way it worked. And then when she would see the two lights come on the board for that cord pair come on, then they know that the persons have answered. and then she would just unplug her plug from the hole. If she was to stay on the connection not long at all. Usually they would just place the plug in the hole, start the ring cycle, and mechanically it may automatically set the ring by itself once the button is pressed down, or she would manually trigger it with her finger, basically like flash the ring. If the line was in use, all she had to do was she would see that the plug was in the hole for the Winston number, and she would just say, sorry, that light's engaged. You know, if the bulb was burned out, she could take the tip and touch it to the sleeve of the socket, and she gets a clicking noise, and she knows the line was engaged too, without having to put the plug in the hole. Just tap it, and she could tell if the line was in use. She used to say, sorry, that line's in use. That's the way it was done in the old days. Much more simple back then. He's talking about the donation. That's would have been funny if you could if you ran interference. Oh, the trolls would have loved it back in those days. And there were kids that would do that, listening on the phone calls of people on the party line. And they did. And then they would be listening to the local gossip, and then they would basically send gossip about to everybody else. That's what gave the switchboard operator a bad reputation. But unfortunately, it wasn't limited to the operator system. It was also, of course, even when people had direct dial party lines, it was the same problem. Because you still could pick up the phone and hear the other person talking, and you'd be listening to the conversation of your neighbor. And the reason why they used party lines back then, very simply, was because there wasn't enough wires in the pole to satisfy every single person that wanted a phone. Today we take this for granted, but back then it was definitely a very understandable thing that a phone number was actual set of copper was shared between multiple businesses and families. Very different times. Anyone on a telephone not cooperating. Like I said, mother was from Ireland, and with disrespect towards the tone got back to her. She could make our lives hell without ever touching us. I'm 1 in 10. Well, like I said, one of the things I would love to have done is to actually create a business back in the 90s allowing people to subscribe to a service that would automatically have a human operator on the other end. Probably have to be more of a within town service, right? So that when you picked up the phone, the central office would actually just run your line straight through to the switchboard of the company. And then the operator of the company, which you were a subscriber of, would then make your phone calls and things like that. Think of how, of course, useful that could be. One, it would have given at least one job to a couple of people to answer the phones and make calls. That would have been, back in the 90s, that would have been a boom. People would have had a job. Even if it was just saying, number please, 1 moment, thank you. You know, that's the way we did it back in the 1960s. It's just that. Ma Bell, Western Electric, AT&T trained operators exactly what a certain type of cadence and voice specifically to be consistent across the network. I get to see the modern day electronic version. Thank you for calling In Your Ass Tell. Please give me your number you want me to call. And I get to see somebody, you know, and it probably happen in real life too, when people are half asleep and they go 555-1532. No, 555-1234. I think that's it. Oh, real operators had to deal with that. I mean, sometimes people would be giving them numbers in all kinds of crazy ways. Okay? I actually had an English textbook from in 8th grade that was from the 1960s that talked about the proper way to ask to talk to the operators on the phone. It was not part of a regular required reading because that was from the 1960s, that English textbook. I read that section. I read it backwards and forwards, upside down, inside out. And even today, when I get on the company, if I get a human switch operator on the other line, I'm very precise and kind because I know that's a human being on the other end. It's not a machine. Now, even machines, that can be nice too. Because even the voice response systems, I can be pretty polite too, because I don't know if maybe they're using that for training videos for, you know, for employees that they're hiring for another part of the job, customer service. So when I call customer service and I do talk to a human being, I try to be as polite as I can. It's a lost art. They like it because they know I'm trying to be, you know, helpful to them by giving them the information that they need in a timely manner. Same thing when I was doing the switchboard over here. I was always polite when people would call in for the tenants, because I would just go ahead and connect their calls, because you never knew what was going on in the caller's life. So you don't know if maybe some call might call in like the person's totally frantic. You can hear, you know, if they're panicking in the phone call, and you would route the call as quickly and as promptly as possible, and with courtesy. That's just the way I did it. Right now, the switchboard is a bit of an array right now, and it has to be fixed up, because right now we don't even have the incoming lines anymore working at this point, but would like to get them back on the system again. But some of the cables in the hallways kind of got mangled over the years, and it's got to be rewired again. But I ran the wires the first time, so I know how the cables go. No, Jerry, you're not. Well, anyway, guys, it's 9:35. I gotta call Pop back. I gotta put my pizza in the oven. And I thank you all for coming. And yeah, I will be on the show tomorrow at 8 o'clock, closer to on time. So if you guys... not everybody's a commie. No. So anyway, guys, what I'm going to do is tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I will do my best to be on time tomorrow. It was just so nice and comfortable in bed. Just on top of the bed, just snoozing away, having weird dreams. But tomorrow will be 8 o'clock again tomorrow night, if we can. I know as I said if. Let me take a quick look at the weather before I go, to see what tomorrow is going to be, because the weather has changed. It's in flux. According to this, right now it's 18 degrees Celsius, right now. Wednesday the 17th said the high will be 28, a low of 12. It'll be mostly sunny. At the time of the live show, it'll be a high of 25. So yeah, I will be definitely out here on the porch tomorrow night too. So that's answers one thing. So you'll see me tomorrow out on the porch. And I will see everybody tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Yep. And Carrie, I'll give you a quick call before after I'm done. And Pop, I will call you back also. Okay? So for now, I want to say, everybody, thank you very much for watching the show. Stay out of trouble. And don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid, guys. I should get counted all the way up to the end of the screen. I know. Because every time I pause my phone, I get fall further and further behind. Oh, jeez. Really? Yeah. Okay, so let's make sure we're up to date here. Up to date. Okay, now we are. We are? Yeah. Okay. Alright, guys, so see you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.